Hello, everyone, and we are back again for another Yap versus Yap podcast, as we call it. Omar, Brito, and we are joined by our good friend, Richard Probst of The Independent Critic. Richard, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, my privilege.
And we are here at the AMC Indianapolis 17 Theater IMAX, right behind us, where we have just watched Eternals, the latest, some would say greatest, some would say not, film in the Marvel MCU. So Richard, I will just throw it to you first. What was your take? And this is, again, cold take. Literally 5 minutes ago, we were in the theater watching this. So it's instant movie review time, Richard.
And they had to wake us up because the movie was finally over.
So is that an indication of where you fell on this
Well,
movie?
we didn't realize it was going to be a 17-hour screening. So, and that doesn't include the credits. So anyway, no. Honestly, I will say, I personally liked it more than I expected to like it. I'm a big fan of the director, but I questioned the wisdom of this kind of a film for her, and this film reminded me why I questioned it.
Really? Well, and why did you question that? Chloe Zhao, the director and one of the co-writers, of course, just won Oscars for Nomadland. Why did you think this maybe was not necessarily the best move for her?
I thought that she could add, some relational elements to it, some character development, some intimacy, some of that to the film, and I think that she largely did that. I thought that she would struggle with doing the typical Marvel elements that have that less personalization, I guess you would say.
The wham bang stuff.
Yeah, and I felt like that was where this film for me really fell short.
Okay. And Omar, how about you?
I have similar thoughts as well. I did find this movie, even though I didn't really know what to expect, it had a lot of heart. Mm-hmm. I felt really emotionally, a lot of emotional moments in this film, and I kept thinking, there's going to be people who don't know anything about about the Eternals,
which I didn't.
Yeah, but they're gonna might be some tears in the audience. I mean, there's some heartfelt moments, and I really enjoyed that part. But the part that I kind of was a little disappointed with was some of the action sequences were a little bit stiff, weird. I didn't flow. They didn't really. They weren't what I was expecting. So, but the other part stuff, the relationship stuff, I enjoyed it.
Fair to say, I think this is only Chloe Zhao's third or fourth feature film as a director. And obviously, she's been doing small independent films, so I think the action scenes are kind of, overwhelmed her, just because that's not necessarily in her wheelhouse. But, I think something she can certainly master with time. I have similar. I think I hit it a little higher than you guys. I definitely would recommend this one. Definitely not one of the top Marvel movies, but just because it did have a lot of themes and elements and emotiveness to it that I don't really feel like before. Where, like in the Avengers saga and all that, conflict between the characters is kind of there, but it's it's the action, it's the narrative, it's Thanos, all that stuff is what's driving it forward, and then you have moments of conflict, and then we go back from the character stuff to the action. And this movie, really, the conflict and the interaction between the superheroes is really what it's all about. And for those who don't know the story, is the Eternals, the setup here is they're supposed to be these immortal, aquatic, quasi-immortal beings who have been on Earth for thousands of years, supposedly to safeguard humankind, and now they're just sort of re-emerging after centuries in seclusion. And obviously questions are brought up like, hey, where were you when Thanos was trying to kill everybody? Which are answered maybe not as satisfactorily as they could be. But yeah, so, interesting cast, very international, eclectic cast, very multicultural. So the Eternals are reflective of the vast differences and diversity of humankind, which I appreciated.
You also had disability represented, including a deaf actress. So,
and I think also something surprising, the Angelina Jolie character. Obviously you saw. I saw Angelina Jolie is in this movie. I figured, she's the top billed. She's the main character, and she's not. She's really a secondary character, and she also has a form of disability. With her, it's that they don't describe it this way in this movie.
The fact that she can't act.
Yeah. No, but
It's like a
I would say
dementia, like a
mental health
dementia?
challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she has
you know,
what we would call mental health challenges amongst a superhero. Which we've got a deaf superhero, we've got a gay superhero, we've got a superhero who has mental health challenges. That's not stuff we've really seen front and center in Marvel movies before.
And yet they're still superheroes.
Yeah.
With all of that, which I did think was very cool.
Yeah.
I think for me, the other challenge that I had was that sometimes, as much as I love that intimacy and the emotion, I felt like sometimes some of the cast, they just weren't up to it. You know, for me, at least 2 or 3 of the performances, they just didn't hit that. They would have been great in a straightforward Marvel film.
Yeah.
But Chloe dug deeper, and some of them I just did not feel like were capable of that. I won't name anyone. Richard Madden.
Yeah, I think he plays the character Icarus.
Very stiff.
Yeah, yeah. So we should mention that a lot of the characters are
Yes,
like
I'm always like this.
the idea is that they have guided and inspired humanity over the years, and so a lot of them have names related to mythological gods or figures. Athena instead of Athena, Icarus, Gilgamesh, things like that. So Circe. Yeah. So obviously, like, you know, we see that how the mythology and reality is intertwined. So yeah, I mean, definitely a film I think with weaknesses. You can't discount the weaknesses, but for me, and I will agree with you, I don't think it's necessarily the actors' fault. Maybe some of it,
I do,
but you know, some of them got more of those moments.
True.
Like the Phaestus character, like supposed to be like the tinker, the builder guy.
Yeah.
He really gets a lot of humanity,
Yeah.
a lot of emotional character moments, whereas the Icarus character, who's kind of like the most powerful, the Superman-ish character, he doesn't get as many of those, or he wasn't asked to show vulnerability, so I think he does end up coming across a little bit as a stiff.
I'll accept that. Kind of,
Yeah.
maybe. And you know, as much as I'm being hard on the film, I think part of that comes from just being a Chloe Zhao fan.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I came into this hoping it would be like upper tier Marvel for me, and I don't think it's lower tier. I've seen far worse Marvel films, but it's probably somewhere in the mid tier for me.
All right, I have to ask. So, what would be like your bottom tier of Marvel films?
Anything with the word Thor in it. For sure.
Yes, the second Thor. I think the second Captain America, kind of towards the bottom.
Yeah,
I don't hate them. I've never hated a Marvel movie.
And this might even get a mild thumbs up from me, but it's just not quite the movie that I hoped it would be. I do think it gives us a good indication that Chloe Zhao does have range.
Yes.
And that hopefully she'll keep getting better opportunities, you know, than, you know, she did The Writer and of course Nomadland. So yeah.
I can see why, from her perspective, she would do this, because if you make a big budget Marvel movie, a lot of doors open for you going down the line.
And this should succeed. I think it will please her fans, and I think it'll please Marvel fans.
Okay. Omar, any thoughts to take us out?
Yeah, I think it'll appeal to a lot of people. I think just because it has a lot of heart, and there's a very diverse cast. I think it's probably the first MCU film that I can think of that has so many subtitles.
Yeah.
You know?
And not just different languages, but sign language. And I don't know enough about American Sign Language to see if they were doing American Sign Language or just their own thing.
What I do want to say is, I think the film has. I'm more interested in what these characters will develop into, and I was not as excited about what they are now.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about future versions of.
Me too. We should say what some of them will develop into, because we're not going to do any spoilers here, but yeah, not everybody on the poster makes it to the end of the movie. Let's just put it that way.
But Chloe's still alive. Don't worry, Chloe's here.
She's a kid.
I'm willing to spoil that one.
Yeah, she's like in her early 30s.
I think she is.
She's got a lot of movies.
She's an amazing. Yeah, she's.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, that's our latest Yap versus Yap. Thank you, Richard, for joining us. Omar, as usual, for being with me.
Peace out.
And we'll see you for the next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.